Alright, today I'm taking a look at dry erase boards, and I use these things as photography bases because I found that the glass is really scratch resistant, and even if it does get scratched, you can usually kind of cover it up and make it look nice. So I've been using these for my base, and I've got all 2x3 foot. There are 4 different boards here. These 2 are by R&G. This is a DexBoard. On the bottom is a U Brands. Then I got one more that I'm going to open up after I get done with these, and that is a Quartet glass. So this is the DexBoard. This is the one that I used last, and I finally made a mistake and I chipped out some of the glass on here, so I'm going to replace this. Just so you can see what I'm looking at. That is a gnarly chip, and the way I got that is I drilled into it. I thought I had enough protection underneath, but I definitely did not. There we go. So this one is getting replaced. But the rest of it, I mean, it has tiny little scratches, but I think as far as actual wear on here, this one is probably held up the best. Like it does very nicely as far as withstanding my abuse, which is quite substantial. And it does have a magnetic backing, which is something that I always get with these now because, well, it just protects the back of it. And since I'm going to be laying it directly on a table, I want to make sure that I have that back protected so that it's not scraping up the black material on the back. If I'm going to get scrapes, I want to get it on the top, not on the bottom. All right, so this is by R&G. And this one also actually held up extremely well. Yeah, it's got a few marks here and there. All in all, it's not that bad. It was just starting to get to a point where I couldn't do close-up photography of some things, and so I replaced it. But all in all, I could definitely still use this thing for more projects. Now, one thing that's nice about this one, both this and the DexBoard, is that there's no branding. There's no logos anywhere on it. A lot of brands want to put their logos on it. I don't like it because for me, for what I do, I then of course have to hide it, I have to work around it. So these non-logo versions, the R&G and the DexBoard, that's kind of my favorite. But this one also has the benefit of a slightly smaller hole on the R&G board. The DexBoard is a little bit bigger, so that's probably going to be better for mounting, so there's going to be more surface area and also a little bit more room to work with. So this one will be a little harder to mount, but a smaller hole for me means less that I have to work around. So far on both of these, like they're a slightly sharper edge, but they're not going to cut me. Like they don't actually feel sharp. It's just a very slight taper over. And on the R&G, you can also see that you can't really see the edge of the glass. So the black is completely covering it, which I really like. The DexBoard, you can more see the edge of the glass. So it's not really a problem for me. It's just a personal preference, which one you like. I don't really care. And this one also has the metal bottom. All right, so it's going to protect the bottom of it and also make it semi-magnetic. And here is another R&G. So that's just some goo that I got on there that'll clean up. Here, I'll try to better represent the color. That looks pretty close. So this is one that I got. I usually use black. I almost always use black, but I wanted to have another color just in case I wanted to try something a little bit different. I got it. I started using it, and I like the black better. But it is nice having another option in my arsenal, so that's why I still have this guy. But almost 100% of the time, I'm going to go for black. Now, if you want to put something up in a room that's going to be on the wall, this can actually be kind of nice because it's a little bit more pleasant than like a black box on the wall. And markers and everything still show up perfectly well on here. So like if I was going to actually hang one on the wall, I would probably go with the blue because I like that. But yeah, all the same stuff. So this is U Brands. Now the thing about this one is it is not magnetic. But what that means is all the scrapes that show on the bottom also show on the top because it's scraping off that black material, which is what you actually see on the top. So this is not lined, so it doesn't have any protection. For hanging on the wall, that's not a problem. But I put a lot of use into this thing and I really beat it up. What I use it mainly for now is if I have to do something with like a large magnet, because like the magnet would just hit it and go, it would explode. So with this one, that's not a problem. This is just glass. I mean, it is quite scratched up, but it does have a logo right here. And it's kind of faint and you're going to see the hole anyway, but you know, it is there. You can kind of see what it looks like when it scrapes the black paint off the bottom. So you're going to see that on the top. And again, everything is squared off, but it's not sharp. Nothing on here is going to cut you. Yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good board. Okay, so this is the Quartet dry erase board. And if this goes well, this is going to be my daily driver for a while. Instructions. We got a little tray on the bottom, so you would stick this on the bottom to hold your markers or your eraser and all that stuff. And we got a marker. So it does have corner protection. It actually has little felt pads in here too to really make sure that nothing is going to get scratched up, so I like that. and plastic corner protectors. You don't want to see it shattered when you first get it. Oh, look at that. Good. So you can use this to make a template. So you can kind of set this on the wall, and that way you're not holding this big heavy dry erase board whenever you're trying to actually mount this thing. So that's cool. So you put the dry erase board on the line, and then you mark out the holes, and then you can take this and you can just use a level, throw it on the wall, tape it up there, and then you can mark and drill everything out. And then when you put the board up, it's going to be right where you need it. So that's pretty awesome. Our hardware. So we have metal pigtail anchors. So these are just going to screw into the wall. And I believe they're self-drilling. So you would essentially just throw that on and then screw it in, and it would screw itself in. And that will give you a thread in the wall. So then we take this spacer, throw the screw in, and that will screw into the anchor. You tighten that guy down, and you will have a nice secure attachment to the wall. If you want to do it by drywall, although I would, if you can, you should probably try to hit a stud. So once you got all these on, you would take this, you would throw it through the holes in the dry erase board, and then you would screw that into these spacers. So pretty easy design. And all these dry erase boards have basically the same design for that. And we also got a couple of strong magnets. Now, one of the things that people find when they get a dry erase board is that they feel it's not magnetic. Most of them are magnetic, but it's just that little plate. You have to go through the glass and then to the metal underneath it. So they're magnetic, but you have to get decent magnets if you want it to work. Yeah, those will work perfectly fine. So, pull this up. Okay. So it looks good. Yeah, it's got a pretty nice finish on it. A lot of foam fuzz on here, but that's okay, that'll come off. And we can see that we do have a brand on here, so I'll have to hide that. So we'll probably do around like yay. So now when I'm getting images, I'll just kind of corner it like that. So that's an option. Now it is actually kind of a nice looking logo on here, but I mean, I'm never going to be using it. It's got soft feeling edges. If you put all of these dry erase boards and you put them in a line and there was no logos or anything, I would be hard pressed to actually be able to tell them apart. They're all pretty similar. The hardware is a little bit different, but I mean the way the holes are drilled, everything is pretty much the same. Soft edge, squared, a little rounded on the corners. So it looks really nice. The only thing left is to see if it'll hold up any better than any of the other ones.